What bothers me about the situation is the fact that even on days when students are to write exams, WAEC, JAMB, NECO, they don't allow them to go to classes. And WAEC had cause to write the government of the southeastern states, especially in Anambra, that they are not going to change the timetable because it's not only Nigeria that is writing that exam. It's written all over the West African country. I think that was about a year or 2 years ago. And they said if they can't be reasonable with their so-called sit at home and they disallowed students to go and write the exams, then too bad. And that happened. Especially, I think a key subject was written that probably English or mathematics. So it's a very senseless thing to do. You say you are fighting for the emancipation of your people and you are impoverishing the same set of people.
Exactly.
I mean, they have maimed the economy of the southeastern states, like they said. People have
put the people at a disadvantage.
Yes, people have moved their commercial activities outside the southeast.
Okay, but because of our time, this joint security force, do you think it can address the state at home?
I do hope so, because I hope it might have an effect. But you see, hoodlums have hijacked that thing. That is just the truth, and they are benefiting. Or they call themselves unknown gunmen. Although I think about a few of them were unmasked about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So maybe some escaped, some were killed, some were arrested. Maybe those ones that were arrested will lead the security agencies to where the others are hiding. It's just senseless. This thing has to stop.
It has to stop. Okay. All right, we need to go on this quick break. And when we return, the conversation continues. Don't go anywhere. Still Journalist Hangout.
Coleman wires and cable, great quality, now with the new look.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did they say?
TVC News, first with breaking news.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw ether material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move weigh in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
There is always more to a story than the screaming headline. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times,
The people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teacher.
Can't continue like this.
Their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything.
If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet sour taste for all. Their demands, a familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Community Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
All right, if you just joined us, it's still Journalist Hangout. I still have Majid Jamia and also BKO. So let's move straight to our next conversation. A mixture of optimism and skepticism is trailing the planned release of Nigeria's rebased gross domestic product. But the federal government insists that rebasing its GDP and inflation data will enhance policy accuracy and capture changes in certain sectors of the economy to boost investor confidence. So joining us for more insight on this issue of rebasing Nigeria's GDP is the Statistician General of the Federation, Adeyemi Adeniran. Adeyemi Adeniran, so thank you so much for joining us on Journalist Hangout.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Good evening, viewers.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. So let's start this conversation this way. From the global perspective, GDP rebasing is supposed to happen every 5 years. But better late than never, they say. Well, the big question is...
Please, if...
Go. Can you hear me?
Sorry if I may correct. Yes, sorry if I may correct you here. What we have released now is the rebasing of the consumer price index, not the GDP. We are still working on the GDP rebasing. So we are here for CPI rebasing. Please.
We understand, sir. We know that you are working on that. We are not going to be asking you questions that assume that you have made the release. You know, but Nigerians also need to know why it is important at this time to have the GDP rebased, and we want you to speak to that as an aside. We are going to be talking basically about the CPI, but we also want you to make Nigerians see the sense in doing this rebasing of our GDP. We understand clearly that you have not released it. So, can you go
very much, the question is, so basically the question is talking about that, why is the GDP, rebasing Nigeria's GDP, why is it important? Enlighten us.
Okay, thank you very much. As we all know, the economy of any nation is not static. The economy is always dynamic.
Okay.
Sometimes you have growth, sometimes you have recession, sometimes you have stagnant within the economy. There's also advancement in technology. There is globalization of the economy, transaction, trade, foreign trade transaction between the Nigeria and other part of the world. The issue of Russia-Ukraine that happened in the past. The issue of innovation, new technology that are changing the pattern and ways of which products and items in the economy are being produced. So because of this, we have the consumption of consumers changing over time.
Okay.
And investors, companies also changing their products in order to suit the consumers in this light. On the basis of all this, there's always a need to do a comprehensive examination of the status of the economy from time to time, so that you can reflect all these changes, all these happenings that are interacting within the economy, so that whatever figure you are giving in terms of structure, in terms of the size of the economy, will reflect exactly what is currently happening to that economy. If you leave it for too long a time, you will be reporting on the figures of the economy, either in terms of the size or in terms of the component, the structure of the sectors that constitute that economy in a wrong way. And you know how important it is for government to make policy, to implement programs that will elevate improve the standard of living of the citizens. So to that extent, it is always important to make the base upon which we are giving this figure to the government, to private sector, to investors, and even to individuals, a correct situation of all the happenings within an economy.
All right.
It is in that light that we are moving the base year for our GDP from 2014 to 2019. But the process of doing that, we are still working on it. We have had a series of engagement from different stakeholders, and they have been giving us very valuable input, which we are still working to improve and see that we have very accurate GDP that we can report for the country.
All right, finally on the rebasing, when Nigeria's GDP is rebased, what are the expected outcomes?
So when the GDP is finally rebased and the figures are released, the expected outcome is that we are going to be given a true picture of different sectors of the economy in terms of the contribution to the GDP, in terms of the structure, the new structure that we are going to have in our economy, so that government can better target their development plan, policy that will lead to development better than the way we have it. Because we are going to be given the correct situation of each of the sectors and activities within the economy. This is also going to be useful to investors. You can now see new areas coming up that have potential for growth. And then investors that are looking for where to put their money, we have information on where they can invest such money. I think these are some of the outputs that we expect to see when finally we have the GDP rebasing out.
All right, so let's talk about the consumer price index now. Now that inflation has dropped from 34.8% in December to 24.848% in January, how would you explain the rationale of this figure, especially when the majority of Nigerians think that prices are going up?
Thank you very much. Let me please make a very good clarification here.
Please do.
The inflation rate, or CPI, does not drop from 34.8 to 24.48. The 34.8 that we released in December 2024 was based on old base year. We have been cumulating inflation rates since 2009 up to December 2024. That 34.8 is based on that old base year of 2009. But we have changed that base year to a more recent base year now, which is 2024. So we are comparing the prices of goods and services in 2025 January to January of 2024. You can see that the base year 2024, of which we are comparing the prices of January 2025, is a more recent year, and that can give you the true inflation rate and inflation pressure within the economy, rather than taking prices in January 2025 and go back to 2009 January and be comparing the prices with that. So we have done well to bring this base year very close to the year that we are computing now going forward. And people are saying, why did we choose 2024 as the base year? There are criteria that we need to follow in choosing the base year. Base year is not an arbitrary year that you just choose or you decide to choose on your own. Whenever you have a new series of inflation, the first price that you are computing or the first inflation that you want to release, if it is, for example, in 2023 that you are releasing your first rebasing price, inflation rate, the base year must be the 12-month average price of previous year. For 2023 example that I'm giving, that means the base year price reference period, which is the base year, will be in 2022. Because the first inflation rate that we are computing with this new base year is in January 2025, then the base year, the price reference period, which we also call the base year, has to be in 2024. That is the rule that is being followed by all the countries of the world, and that's the standard. And people are saying, oh, in 2023, there are a lot of policies that spur prices to go up. And that in 2024, the prices manifested well and so high. So when we are talking of base year again, it is better when we are looking at year that is relatively stable. The 2023 recorded a lot of volatility in terms of prices of goods and services in Nigeria. But if you look at 2024, especially towards the end of the year of 2024, we have started seeing some moderation, some standardization in the prices of goods and services. So first, the rule says a year before your first release of the inflation rate, you have to choose that. That's why it is 2024. That's the technical component. And then when you look at stability within the price variance, you will see that 2024 is more stable than what we have in 2023. These are the reasons for choosing 2024 as the base year. So the issue of inflation dropping from 34.8 to 24.48 does not arise in this matter. We have a new series, we have new base year of 2024, and based on that base year, we have new inflation rate of 24.48 when we compare from January 2024 to January 2025. That is the rate of increase, general increase in the way in which prices are moving, either fast or slow.
Okay, Prince, from your...
And then when you say prices are generally high in the market, yes, the general price level of goods and services is a different thing from the rate by which these prices are moving up. The prices are going up, but it's not as fast as what we have in December. We can see that even in December 2024, prices of goods and services have started coming down. So it's the rate by which those movement of the prices is what we are measuring when we talk about inflation. So it's different from price level, general price level in the market, because inflation rate cannot go and change the market prices. But the rate by which these changes are occurring is what inflation is measuring.
Okay, from your previous explanation, Prince, we now know that lower inflation figures do not mean lower prices. What would be the implications of the new rate on policy formulation in our country?
Yes, these new rates that we have now first give us the true picture of what inflationary pressure is in the country, rather than applying policies towards cumulated inflation from 2009. So whatever we are measuring now, we are measuring accurately the inflation pressure within the economy. That is the first thing. Then secondly, we have information now, we have data that we can give government both for monetary policy formulation as well as even fiscal policy formulation. For CBN, they now know how to target inflation properly in order to tame it, because they are giving them current and correct inflation rate. To government, when we look at fiscal policy, they can also have the structure of activities or goods and services that are driving the inflation in the current period. And then government can target those activities or those group of goods and services that are driving the inflation, because we have true picture of how items are driving inflation now. Government had so many policies, formidable policies already in place. It should just help them to target this better now. And for individual, it will also be useful for individual to plan their expenses properly, because you now know that a particular item that you used to buy before, because of the increase, continuous increase in that prices, we have information in our basket of alternative items that consumer can also lean onto in order to meet with their purchasing power.
Thank you, sir. Each time the CBN, for example, says there's too much cash in the economy, they want to mop up. And an average man on the street will ask, where is the cash that they are mopping up? Now, what is the implication of this rebasing of the consumer price index to the ordinary man on the street? How will this impact on them? And what is also the implication? Of course, you have mentioned part of the implications for the Nigerian economy. I mean, attracting investors and stuff like that. New areas like fintech and quarries and stuff like that that investors can look into. But for the average man on the streets, how will this impact them positively?
Yes, the average man on the street is not the one to make policy. Is not the one to implement program. Policy is by government, and government need accurate data to make effective policies. So by the time we provide this data, the new inflation rate, from time to time on monthly basis to government, and they are seeing the movement of prices in the economy, it will help government to target better, to, if there is need to tweak some of the policies to suit what is currently driving inflation, government will be able to do that. The same thing goes for CBN. They will be able to target inflation better than they used before because of the old base year and the items that we have in the basket. So by the time government had good information, correct information, adequate data that will lead to good policy that can also lead to development in the economy, then the citizens, the ordinary citizens on the street, will begin to see that the prices of food items are coming down because of the accurate data that we have provided with government to make policies, and also to strengthen the one that is already on ground. That will help to bring down food inflation. The same thing goes for transport. We all know that government has been investing in making sure that transport is affordable to the citizens. So providing the movement of inflation or the inflation rate on this particular item, which is the transport, to the government, we also help them to better address the issue of transportation apart from what they have been doing before. So it will strengthen that policy of government and all the programs, activities that they already have in place. If it is working well, it will show to the government that this is already working. The policy, the program are already working. Inflation is already coming down in this particular item. And then they can now look at another item that is not yet properly addressed either by policy or is not attention is not yet focused on it. So all these guides that the data will be providing to government will help government to really address the targeting of inflation. And once inflation is coming down, the prices of goods and services are coming down, the purchasing power of the citizens will be improved, and then they can be able to have a very good living standard.
What are some of
so it will help eventually the citizens on the street.
Prince, what are some of the changes that you have introduced to your methodology that has helped you in terms of collating the right data? And are there some development partners helping you? Because over the years, people have come to be pessimistic about some of these figures when they come out.
So let me quickly talk about development partner first. There is no development partner that collects data for any country, especially in Nigeria. No, whether World Bank or IMF, they don't have enumerators, they don't have field offices where they can go to rural areas and start collecting data on behalf of Nigeria. So whatever data that we have is data collected by staff, by citizens of Nigeria, from Nigerian citizens. So it's our own data that we collected, that we analyzed to come up with this result. What development partner can do is to ensure that you follow the standard, is to guide you in making sure that the best practice is adopted and the standard methodology that is laid down for all the country in doing this kind of exercise are followed. And it's just by way of advice and consultation. It's not like they are even going to impose that you must follow whatever they are saying. This must be how it's going to be. But they can advise, they can support, and say this is the best practice, this is how it is done in other countries. And they are doing this because, as we all know, whatever result that we have, whether for GDP, whether for CPI, we are comparing with other countries. If we don't follow the best, the standard methodology laid down for the countries, or best practice that is internationally recognized, then the data from Nigeria will not be able to compare with other countries. So it is to that extent that we work with the development partner. But in terms of the data itself, we collected our data, and it's our citizens, our staff that collected the data, and we analyze it on our own. Then, in terms of what are the new things that we brought on board for this new rebasing, now we have more items in our basket, which is more reflective of the consumption pattern of citizens as we have it now. In the 2009 rebase that we are not using now, that old base year, the number of items that we have in the basket is 740 goods and services. Now with this new rebasing, we have 960 items for which we are going to be collecting data. Also, we have a better structure or better weight of how consumption, how households spend their money among all the items that are available in that basket. So we have more information on the consumption pattern of the household. We can better inform policy formulation. In addition to that, before now, we are using paper to collect our prices every month. But now we have moved from paper data collection to digital data collection using a computer-assisted personal interview device, which you call CAPI device. So as the enumerator are in the market, we can locate exactly the market that we have assigned to them, and then we can also track whether they are measuring the goods and the items that they are pricing properly, so that when there is any mistake or any error observed, we can quickly reach out to them even before they leave that market, because as they are collecting the data, they are sending it to us at the headquarters, and there are people on standby that are checking the data on daily basis.
Okay, just before we let you go, just before we let you go, just tell us, when will the rebasing happen?
The GDP rebasing.
The GDP rebasing.
When
will the GDP rebasing happen? Just tell us.
Okay, so the GDP rebasing is almost getting to the finalization.
Okay.
As I said, we have quite a lot of engagement with different stakeholders, and we want to appreciate them because each time we have this engagement, they always give us valuable input that help us to go back and look at what we have done, so that at the end of the day, when we come out with the GDP rebasing, it will be a very correct structure of the economy, and the actual size of the economy will be given. Okay. And then, so we are still assessing this input from stakeholders, but we are almost done with that.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. I'm speaking with the Statistician General of the Federation, Adeyemi. Thank you so much for having this conversation with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, then. Okay, gentlemen, maybe Biko, just maybe 10 seconds.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the basing of our GDP to happen.
Yes.
Let's see the size of the economy now.
The true, exactly.
I want to see how big the services sector is now. I want to see how big the agri sector is. The stories from Kaduna, billionaires, you know.
Yeah, when it comes to agriculture,
yes,
you talked about.
The stories from and other parts of Nigeria where cocoa is being grown. Farmers are now buying luxury cars. Farming is the real thing now. So I want to see how accurately.
And also the creative industry as well. But anyway, thank you so much, Majid Jami. Appreciate you for coming to the stage to have this conversation. BKO, thank you so much as well. And that's it on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11. Join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Benga. Oreshegun, bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
The most anticipated event in the African marketing industry is here. The Advent African Awards for Marketing Excellence is set to showcase and reward the most innovative and impactful brand building activities across Africa. The theme of this year's edition is Controlled Chaos, Mastering Marketing in a Hyper-Connected World. Date for the award ceremony is Saturday, the 22nd February 2025. Time 5 p.m. Venue Admiralty Hall, Naval Dockyard, Amado Bello Way, Victoria Island. For inquiries and partnership opportunities, visit advanawardsng.com or call 090-2757-5265.
Enjoy the delicious creamy goodness of cowbell. With Vitarich and vitamin B9, which supports brain development. Cowbell, so creamy, so good.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. This Love Month, skip the ordinary and embrace the extraordinary. Why settle for flowers when you can gift products that bring joy, health, and togetherness? Celebrate your love with products that bring you closer together. Skip the flowers. Get the products from now till the 28th of February 2025. From now through the month of love, we are excited to offer gifts worth 30,000 naira on the first 100 200 orders. Yes, that's right. Let's start with the ultimate kitchen companion, the CookX Air Fryer Oven. It's the gift that keeps giving, creating healthy, delicious meals you'll love. The CookX 10-in-1 Air Fryer Oven is a 12-liter oven that offers 75% more space for cooking than traditional air fryers. Call the number on your screen now or scan the QR code and get the CookX Air Fryer Oven plus an amazing kitchen knife set valued at 30,000 naira for free for 239,950 naira. You can get the CookX Air Fryer Oven in 2 easy payments of 119,975 naira. Are you looking to bond and get fit? The ShopX Ultimate Crunch lets you sweat it out together. No gym is required. Build muscle, build memories, and build your best selves while at it. This 6-in-1 machine is designed to take your fitness to the next level. Call the number on your screen now or scan the QR code and get the ShopX Ultimate Crunch at the price of 399,950 naira. You also get the Genie Bra from ShopX TV, valued at 30,000 naira for free. And that's not all. You can get the ShopX Ultimate Total Crunch in 2 easy payments of 199,975 naira. We have the CookX 4-in-1 blender, perfect for whipping up healthy, delicious smoothies for 2. It's love at first sip. It's a food processor, a grinder, a blender, and a juicer all in one. Call the number on your screen right now or scan the QR code and get an amazing kitchen knife set valued at 30,000 naira for free. You can get the CookX 4-in-1 blender for just 155,950 naira. And that's not all. You can get the CookX 4-in-1 blender in 2 easy payments of 77,975 naira. That's right, pay twice to get this amazing cooking solution. But hurry, limited stock available. So call the number on your screen now or scan the QR code or visit our website to place your order while stock lasts. Shop now and make this month of love unforgettable. The proceeding is a paid presentation by ShopX TV.
There is always more to a story than the scrimmage line. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.